Hey guys, I'm on the North Shore of Hawaii, up at Pupukea Heights, and I'm lucky enough to be welcomed into Mark Healey's home and his world. He's a big wave charger, like out of control. He's an ultimate waterman, spear fisherman, conservationist. What doesn't he do? Let's check out his life.
Oh God, there's too many jellyfish.
It's such a wonderful ride. It's such a wonderful ride. It's no fool's paradise. It's such a wonderful ride.
Hey guys, welcome to another Occ-Cast. We're on the North Shore of Hawaii, up at Pupukea Heights, and I'm lucky enough to have a big wave hellman, an ultimate waterman, Mark Healey. Thanks for letting me into your world.
Oh, thanks for letting me on your show, man. I love this show.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. Far out. I've known you since you were a pretty small kid.
Yeah.
What's your first memories of meeting me?
Through Raina.
Raina.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So I was down at Shores on the
Yep.
inside Sunset spot, and I think I met Dean Morrison there when we were
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
And I think he might have been with Dean back when we were
Raina
like
was with Dean, yeah.
boogie boarding and
Yeah.
surfing, and that's
Yeah.
how I met a lot of those Aussie boys. Is
Yeah.
just from being little kids running around Sunset Point.
How
And
old
then-
do you reckon you were then?
Shoot, I don't know, man. I must have been like 12 at the oldest.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like 2 lifetimes ago, it feels like.
It does feel like that, doesn't it? Where do you travel in summer? Just chasing the big swells? Wherever.
All over, man. You know, it's been a litany of different things. I've done a couple of different bow hunts, one in New Zealand, one in Idaho, one in Alberta, Canada. I just did a speaking engagement in Bermuda. I have a business called Healy Water Ops, so I'm setting up these like amazing ocean-bound experiences
Wow.
for very.
Can you tell us a bit more about Healy Water Ops?
Yeah, so basically the idea is it's something that I've been thinking about since I was like 15.
Wow.
Because I remember it has changed quite a bit. It's caught up now, but I remember being a little kid and you'd go on the golf course at Turtle Bay and you'd see these amazingly manicured greens, good service, you know, snacks, water everywhere, attention to detail. And then, you know, when people come to Hawaii, I'm not saying Turtle Bay, but like come to Hawaii in general, their main attraction is really the beaches and the ocean. Yet when a lot of these people would go down to the ocean, it's like, here's a dirty pair of goggles that's gonna fog and go drown on your honeymoon. All right,
Yeah,
see you later. You know, so I always thought it was like an underserved thing that people really do want to experience the ocean and everything. And then through traveling over the years and, you know, whether it be for free diving and spearfishing or surfing everywhere, I realized that a lot of places specialize in one ocean activity. Like you're not going to go to a surf destination and get really good dive outfit there or really good fishing outfit. It's like everybody sticks to their one kind of thing.
Their niche, yeah.
Yeah, and does other things not as great. So I was like, you know, I have 1 degree of separation or less to the best people in the world at what they do in, on, around the ocean, whether it be cinematography, safety, kiteboarding, windsurfing, free diving,
Wow.
and collect the group that I think are very good teachers. Because, I mean, just because you're the best in the world at something doesn't make you a good teacher as well. So it's like finding all these people and getting them together and creating these epic adventures
Wow.
for people that's totally customized anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world?
Anywhere.
Wow.
So if somebody wants a submarine in the Arctic, th're getting a submarine in the Arctic. So
Seriously?
we're playing with big chips. It's
Big
pretty
chips, my goodness. That's
interesting.
radical.
Yeah.
And how long have you been bow hunting for?
I've been bow hunting for like, I want to say 3 years now.
3 years now? Before that, were you regular hunting? I mean, normal
No,
guns, or
I-
you went
you know-
straight to the bow?
Straight to the bow. I always, you know, hiked when I was a kid and everything, but the mountains, like I'm not the kind of guy that goes and hangs out at the beach. Like my girlfriend wants to go like, hey, it's midday, it's sunny, let's hang. I'm like, no, look at me, I can't be in the sun. Like if I'm going to the beach, I'm going fishing, I'm going surfing, I'm working out, like I need to do something.
Yeah.
So in Hawaii, it's kind of weird. Like you go hiking, but there's no like bears or mountain lions to look out for. You're just kind of like seeing the same things. And then Wassel and Shane started like trying to get me into bow hunting. And they're like, man, I'm telling you, it's as much of a crazy rush and a challenge as surfing big waves.
Is it really?
And I was like, come on,
Come on.
bullshit. You know, come on, it can't be like that. And then I started thinking, I'm like, these are two crazy dudes that I've been in some crazy situations with.
In the ocean? Yeah.
Probably the only two guys who could have got me into it that fast, because I was like, okay, there must be something to it. And yeah, as soon as I went the first time, I was kind of hooked. Everything
right.
changes. It's and I'm really into the whole idea of eating good, clean food
Yeah.
and sourcing things locally and
So
all.
you shoot it, you clean it, everything like that?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Do you go solo now?
Yeah, I go solo sometimes or with
Sometimes.
friends. So a lot of times you'll go with a buddy and you guys split in different
Oh, okay.
directions and meet up wherever you can. That's like half the mission sometimes, just finding your friend in the
Finding
dark
your
in some
friend.
place you've never been. You know? So it's always entertaining.
Yeah. So what's the game on in Hawaii? Is it pigs and deer? Is that all?
So we have axis deer on Maui, Molokai, and Lanai. We have mouflon sheep.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
That would be on Lanai and Big Island.
Yeah.
Big Island also has feral sheep. We got tons of pigs and goats everywhere.
Yeah.
I mostly go hunt the axis deer
Okay.
because they're
Beautiful.
really good eating, a challenge. There's populations way too large, so we're in a unique situation in Hawaii where there's no season. So you can hunt year round as opposed to most other places in the world.
Yeah. Right.
And yeah,
It's not seasonal. No.
no, it's seasonal as far as the rhythm of the animals,
Mm.
which is like when they grow their horns and it turns into hard horns and they start fighting and breeding. So that's the most exciting time to hunt because everything's just popping off all around you. But actually in Hawaii, since the populations are so out of whack and large, that they have a year-round breeding cycle now.
Wow.
So it's not even as seasonal as it once was, and it's a unique situation, I think, in all the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's no natural predators here.
No.
Yeah.
No big bears.
No big bears, yeah, no
Tigers.
big cats, no snakes.
No snakes. Hawaii's got no snakes, no spiders.
Yeah, no, well, no real bad spiders.
Yeah,
Not like
not like-
Australia
not like
spiders.
Australia, no.
Not ones that'll drop you.
We've got them all.
Uh-huh.
It's crazy, hey? So you feel pretty safe out in the jungle?
Yep, you're pretty safe.
Yeah. Well, cool.
As long as you're on property you're supposed to be on.
Yeah. Oh, it's some big Hawaiian guy's
yeah.
property.
You don't want to be jumping the
That's
wrong
scary.
fences. That's a no-no.
No, that's a no-no. You grew up on the North Shore, born and raised here. It's a beautiful lot you got here at Pupukea. Where was the house you grew up in on the North Shore?
So I grew up on the mountainside of Cam Highway across from like backyards.
Backyards. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my little neighborhood over there.
Close to Comsat.
Yes, backyard was on Comsat.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful.
That's where I spent being born to 17 years old.
Yeah. And your dad was a waterman. Did he inspire you to, like apart from surfing, like free dive and fish, and that was what he was into?
Yeah, it was basically like, I think I had a unique situation with the way my dad did everything
Yeah.
because I can't remember a second where he was like, no, you got to go out and you got to surf like this or that, or it was basically him just bringing me along with all of his buddies, and I was like the baby,
Yeah.
Fishing overnight and
Yeah.
going diving, him dragging me around on his buoy or surfing with them. I think that's one of the reasons I kind of, besides just naturally liking big waves, I was surfing with like my dad and his carpenter buddies
Wow.
because they didn't want to surf crowded spots. So you're
Yeah.
like out at Phantoms.
Oh, you're going out of reefs.
With the old
Your
boys.
dad was surfing out of reefs.
Yeah.
Wow, that's super cool. Was he goofy too?
He is regular footer,
Regular.
and he tried to make me a regular
Did
footer.
he?
So all my little kid photos of me surfing in like the first Menehune contest, my leash is on my front foot. He still swears I started as a regular footer. I'm like, no, Dad.
Oh, that's too funny. And now you're into foiling a little bit.
Yeah, like full Barney.
Full Barney.
I'm a full Barney, but it's so fun.
It's so fun.
Yeah, so I've probably only had like 7 sessions under my belt. And everybody says to tow behind a ski first to
Yeah,
figure out
right.
the weight. I didn't do that
No,
because I'm stupid.
straight into it.
Yeah, straight in. But then
That's you, though.
yesterday,
Yeah.
me and Cole Christensen went out, and he
Oh,
had
okay.
never done it in anything over small waves before either. And we went and whipped around at outside Avalanche,
Oh, wow.
and it was so fun.
Was it?
You
And
go
it would've
so
been
damn
big.
fast. Yeah, it was like 12 feet
12
probably.
feet? Do you go faster on the bigger wave or just the same as the small wave?
Way faster.
Way faster.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like you'll pass the ski if the ski is trying to run. into
Really?
you. Yeah, you got to be. I'd imagine you have to be going 40 miles an hour
Wow.
at least.
I had I got Laird Hamilton on my Occ-Cast, and he said he thinks he can catch a 100-foot wave on a foil board. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Laird's a well thought out guy too. He wouldn't be saying stuff like that unless he knew he could do it.
Like, would it have to be like a perfect, glassy, hugest swell of ever, and
That's
it's
what
possible?
Or
does it have to be glassy?
that's what I'm not sure about, because yesterday I did definitely feel like you started really watching the water in front of you, because
Yeah.
if you hit a big chop, like that thing wants to come up with the chop. But I feel like we're in such like the infancy of
it.
foil shapes and
Yeah.
everything that it's gonna accelerate really fast. There's gonna be
That like
better-
make the
better
foil
gear.
better.
Yeah, or more
Ride better.
efficient and tuned in for really high speeds
Wow.
and bigger waves, and
Wow, way.
it's exciting.
It is.
It's new. I'm not trying to be a pro foiler or anything, but I'm having a lot of fun.
Is there any such thing as a pro foiler?
I don't know. I said that about stand-up paddling when it first came out. Now there's really good professional stand-up paddlers, so who knows?
Hey, so Mark, I mean, it's crazy how much stuff you do in the ocean. I mean, from everything, you know, like you're a very accomplished spear fisherman. You won a World Cup. Whereabouts was that?
Oh, that was in La Paz, Mexico. So-
Mexico?
Yeah, so that was like the Blue Water Spearfishing World Cup.
Okay.
But I used to do a bit of tournament spearfishing. I love it.
You love it.
I spearfish as much as I surf, at
You do?
least.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm always in the water diving.
So you mustn't ever have to go to Foodland. You've got your deer, you've got your
No.
fish.
I can't, unless I'm sitting at a restaurant,
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I bought fish.
you
I
bought
don't think
No.
that's like paying for parking on the North Shore. It's like something I won't
You-
do. I'm
you
like,
would
well,
do-
I guess I'm not eating fish tonight if we don't have any.
Oh, that's classic. So when you won the World Cup, what kind of fish was it and how big was it?
Well, the formats for
Yeah.
all these different events kind of vary greatly. For that particular event, it was a 3-day event. You get 2 of each species that's allowed on the list
Mm-hmm.
with minimum sizes. They only count if they're that size or bigger.
Yeah.
And so you have to get kind of a wide variety
Oh,
of
you do?
fish.
Okay, yeah.
So it's hunting everything from like, you know, deep blue ocean all the way up to like 5 feet of water.
Oh, really?
Sometimes. So you have to be kind of well-rounded. I
Yeah.
guess.
Wow.
Even though it was the Blue Water World Cup, there was species that you had to go shallow for.
Have you ever seen like the Discovery Channel where they like, it's like, what is it? Where you have to like stay in the jungle for like 40 days.
Oh yeah,
Would
like
you
those
do
different
that?
Survivor
Yeah,
things.
Survivor.
If it paid enough,
Yeah, right.
I go do that for fun after that. I'm like,
You do. I was gonna say like, I don't know if you've seen the show like Naked and Afraid, but I
Yeah.
didn't want to say it.
Oh,
but that'd
man.
be so sketchy.
you just be like, every time the camera comes on you, you're like, wait, I gotta get some blood flow here, guys. I don't want to have
I
that
know.
image out there.
Oh, like a little freaking hacksack. So I know you can hold your breath for a long time. We were talking about that when we went shark diving. So it was 6 minutes, was it? If you're not,
I think that the longest, I don't like try to figure out how long I can hold my breath to
Yeah.
the end all the time,
Yeah.
but I think we were doing the big wave risk assessment group kind of meeting where everybody gets together and
Yeah.
they had one of the free diving instructors and everybody sat in a room, and so I think that was probably the longest I've on paper held my breath. It was like 6:10.
6:10, just sitting
I think
there.
I'm gonna make a goal though. I think I want to be able to hit 7
7.
by the end of January.
Wow.
That's my New Year's resolution.
Wow, that's incredible. I can't hold it for 30 seconds.
You could hold your breath a lot longer than
You think?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's just a process, and understanding the process, and there's so much psychology to it that when you make gains and you just yourself know that you can progress, then you really progress a lot, because then you start believing in yourself. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
And that's everything.
Everything, it's all in the mind.
Yeah, a lot of it's in the
Relaxing.
mind. Most of the work is in the mind, and then you'll finally hit a spot where you plateau, and that's where the real body work will start.
Oh, okay, that's incredible. And just back to hunting, have you got a cool hunting story? I mean, I know you hunt on most of the islands. You've hunted on Molokai.
Yep.
I've spent some time there. Is it out at Wailau or?
No, I just hunted behind some friends'
Oh, okay.
places, their properties over there. I'm not allowed to say.
Yeah, no, don't see it. Molokai's a very special place, isn't it?
Yeah.
Any like radical stories though that can come to mind?
Oh man. There's some funny ones, man.
Some funny
I'll
ones?
tell you
I
how
like
I got
them.
this goat in the back here.
Oh yeah, okay.
So
I haven't met the goat yet.
Yeah, he's a handful. So I was hunting on Maui actually, and feral goats are a giant problem over there, especially
really?
like if you have permission to hunt on a ranch, they highly encourage you to
Get the goats.
try to get the goats. Same problem in Australia in a lot of places.
Oh, have we? Yeah, we do.
Yeah, and so I was always like, oh man, I've had some pretty good goat in Fiji and some other places, and
You mean
he
you
just showed
liked-
me a good recipe, but they're
They're not
they
that
stink.
good.
They're not that
the
good.
Meat. Yeah,
I was
right.
like, okay, where's my commitment level to this thing? And so they're actually rounding up cattle in the part of the property that we were hunting, and my friends were hunting a rifle like a mile up. And so we were walking around, and since they were rounding up cattle, all the deer was kind of gone. We didn't see a single deer. We're coming back, and I saw this goat, and it was kind of like on a little mound. I was like, okay, it's a 60-yard shot, and there's a branch a little high at 30 yards because your arrow at a certain point does kind of like an arc,
okay.
so you got to adjust for that. So if there's something in between you and that, even though it's higher than the object, the arc can knock it down. So I was like, all right, I'll take this goat and I'll eat it if I hit it, but if it hits the branch, then it's not going to even hit the goat at all, and it's not going to injure it.
Yeah.
So I'm free and clear. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
Shoot, sure enough, arrow hits a branch, arrow hits the dirt, doesn't hit the goat, and it runs off a ways. But it stops and it doesn't completely run away. And I'm like, that's weird. And so I started glassing my binos, and I see this little black ear just on the back side of the hill. I'm like, no, it has a baby. So I was like, okay, we're gonna sit down here and chill and let this goat come back. And just then, like, the guys who were hunting up top started shooting the rifles, and the goat just bailed.
Oh, he bolted.
Bailed, yeah, she. And, which I didn't realize it was female. And I came over, and it was like a newborn, like 2 hours old, had its umbilical cord on it. And I was like, oh no, this thing's not gonna last here. Like, I either gotta
Kill it.
finish it, or I gotta throw it in my backpack. And I was like, man, I don't have the heart to kill this thing. So I put it in my backpack, and
You did?
now he lives here.
Really?
And he has no respect whatsoever
Oh,
for
he,
me.
he doesn't. He should have
Yeah.
ultimate respect. You saved his life.
So
I mean,
ungrateful.
her life. She good? Shit, like
Yeah, back there, and then got a second one.
You got a
Keep it
second one?
company. Yeah,
to
so
keep her company.
I think this is how it starts. This is how like crazy cat ladies get a bunch of cats. I might end up being a crazy goat guy.
Crazy goat guy.
Yeah.
But you put it in your backpack and took it on the plane.
Yeah, we got it back.
How? They didn't know?
Well,
How'd you
another
get that one
story I
through
can't really
security?
comment on
Yeah,
either.
right, that's all right. I'm just imagining you
the
going
goat
through
got
security.
here completely legally, of course.
Oh, that's too funny. Oh my goodness.
Me getting a call. Excuse me, Mr. Healy.
We need that goat back.
Yeah.
So you worked as a stuntman, Mark, for a while.
Yeah.
And are you still doing that?
Yep.
Yep.
Still doing stunt
So
work.
where do you go to LA to do that, or
I've
they
done a
usually
couple
come
of
here?
jobs there. I
Yeah.
work mostly on stuff that's coming through here.
The
It's-
crews come here, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty regular coming through here. Hawaii Five-0 has been running for ages
Oh,
now,
yeah.
and before that was lost. So there's kind of always like
Something happening
something
here.
where they need people. I've worked in Tahiti a couple of times.
Okay.
And
Wow.
yeah, just kind of
In
when it makes sense.
surfing or just all kinds?
not a lot of surfing actually. It started that way because
Yeah.
Uncle Brian, Keolana,
Yeah.
and Brock, and those guys got me jobs when there needed to be surfing doubles, and
Yeah.
then, as long as you don't screw up, they're like, hey, we need somebody to get punched in the face and fall down.
Oh, really? That
Somebody
too?
needs to get shot. Yeah, so
Wow.
I'm usually getting like a wig and an outfit and
Yeah.
getting shot by somebody.
Wow.
Like I'm almost always like the random villain that makes one appearance on the show and
Wow.
dies.
Oh,
Yeah,
quit
that's
it.
me.
You like that?
It's fun. I enjoy it. It's problem solving. You always learn things of just how to, from the stunt coordinators you're working with and kind of working in that environment, and how much I learned a lot about, just safety protocol from that, besides just what we had to learn on our own with the big wave stuff. So, yeah, I enjoy it. It's fun.
And let's move on to like your favorite break. I know it's a big wave break somewhere. I know you like to spend time in Porto Escondido. Would that be your favourite, or is there others? It's probably one in
Big
Hawaii.
cloud break's hard to beat.
Big cloud break. Wow.
Yeah,
That's rare though, isn't it?
it is.
You were out there that day when it was absolutely huge. Can you tell us that story when
Yeah.
the set of the day came through and you were like, I think you were the furthest on the inside.
I was excited.
You were excited.
Yeah, so everybody
It was a
came.
solid 30-foot set, hey, and it just went completely inside out.
Yeah.
And where were you?
The biggest one, I was swimming under.
You were swimming under, yeah.
Yeah, the biggest one that came later in the afternoon. And,
That's the one I mean.
I was crapping my pants. It's like, oh my
What was it?
God.
Just everything getting dragged off the reef?
Yeah, you know what my problem was is I was, trying to get myself pumped up. I got a few good waves,
Yeah.
but I was like, this is my chance. I want to get a real one.
Mm.
And so a real one came, and I kind of was like, okay, I'm going to take my time paddling over this because I want to see like the transition,
Yeah,
like
okay.
where, if I'm going to commit, what does it have to look like?
Yeah.
And so I did that, but as I'm coming over this backless thing, it's kind of, it starts pulling you back, and there's all the spray. And then as the spray was clearing, I just seen black. I was like,
The next one.
oh no. Oh no.
There's that sinking feeling. You're just like, you go like hot. You're
I've
just
done
like,
it this time.
oh,
It's so funny because every time I've been in that situation, the first thing that pops in my mind is like, it's your fault.
Yeah.
You didn't have to be here.
yeah, right.
You chose to be here. You could be on a couch somewhere watching a movie. You did this to yourself. But
oh my goodness.
I just started paddling. And it was doing the same thing that Chopo does, where
Yeah.
it'll pull so much water off the reef. So that can kind of help you sometimes when
Yeah.
you're caught inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're getting momentum going out faster.
Mhm.
And then you just kind of want to ride that momentum. That's because as it breaks, there's still some of that seems to go under and
up.
through.
Yeah.
So
So
it
you're in
just-
that zone.
Yeah, and
You got through.
I knew I had to pull my leash. I wasn't
Oh,
going to
you
make.
did, yeah. You went.
Yeah, and I didn't have a pull pin, so I had to like reach around my leg and
jeez.
pull that way. So I had to time my strokes because every stroke was precious. And I just
Whoa.
remember thinking, get enough air, end with a left-handed stroke, pull the leash, swim through as efficiently as possible, and luckily made it through. But I remember just like, it felt like swimming up from like 80 feet of water. Like how long I was just, wow. Fighting it. I felt like I was fighting it across for so long, then starting to come up,
Yeah.
and
Was
my
there a
ears
wave behind
popped.
that?
No, thank
No.
God. But I was like, your mind is going crazy because
Yeah.
you're seeing something that you've never seen before, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, well, I'm not going to rule out anything at this point. It might be a 100-footer behind this.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I don't know.
You just don't know.
But thank God there wasn't.
You're on Instagram, Healy Water Drops.
Healy Water Ops.
Ops.
Yeah.
You got drops here, Eanes.
It sounds cuter.
Yeah, water drops. It is cute.
Yeah, water drops.
Okay. So Instagram, Healy Water Ops.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's your business.
Yeah, that's the name of my business.
Yeah.
HWO for short.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's my personal account, but I'm gonna start a HWO account as well and
Yeah.
get people excited.
Nice. So that wasn't your worst wipeout. That was a very scary situation, but you
Yeah,
made it.
made it.
Have you got a story?
Yeah, there's been all kinds of close calls. I think
Yeah.
2 real close ones were I broke my eardrum at really big jaws one time.
Okay.
And I did it at Big Dungeons one time in South Africa.
An ear too, there.
Yep, same ear.
Same ear. And how, I've actually never burst it. Does it make you not even know which way's up or down?
Yeah, you can't I wouldn't even be able to crawl on my hands and knees.
Right here.
That's how spun out.
And you're
Yeah.
you're in huge surf.
Yeah,
in
and
that.
you can't find your way up. And even if you hit the surface, you can't hold your head up
Oh no.
because you don't know. Like you
don't
put your
know.
head back down and start just
Swimming
thrashing
the wrong
about.
way.
Yeah, so
Wow.
that was gnarly. The first time I did that, which is probably the closest call I ever had, was first time I ever went to Jaws, and we were towing in. I was with Jamie Sterling.
Yeah.
And we had been out the whole. I had a flu for like 2 weeks before that, so I probably shouldn't have went out. That's just like a young dumb thing. And so we were out the whole day, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait for a bomb, and I'm gonna try to pull in.
Yeah.
And so a little goat won't shut up. So a big wave finally came, a real big wave, And I was like, okay, I'm
Big
gonna.
as in like 30 feet.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't
Like,
know.
it
That's
was
big.
a solid one. And yeah, like 60-foot
Yeah,
base
yeah.
for sure plus. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna kind of fade it until I hit the bowl, which is I learned is a terrible idea on big waves. Ever trying to fade it.
Yeah.
And as soon as I set my rail to try to come around it, I just remember the lip landed right on my heels, and I was looking in the air at my feet in the straps and looking at the cliff in the background with white water coming around me, and then just broke my eardrum. I had this like thin little vest from like Walmart.
Oh, you didn't have the pool vest
No, this was a long time ago.
before the pool vest.
Yeah, this is way before the pool vest. This is where I was calling guys pussies for just wearing any kind of flotation.
Oh, you were?
Like, don't need it, you know. Learned otherwise, but yeah, the vest ripped in half, and it was coming off my arm. My eardrum was blown out, and I knew that it was. I was like, oh shit, I'm in trouble. And I grabbed the vest and I just held it, and I had to wait till that eventually
up.
brought me up.
Wow.
And then I took like, I don't know how many waves. It's hard to say because I was so like, I was barely conscious and I was spinning. It's just, I saw bright white a couple of times, so that must have been when I kind of was on the sideways
verge.
on the surface between waves.
Yeah.
And then Victor Lopez ended up picking me up. I went in the channel and I was like dry heaving because I was spinning, but I didn't want to puke in front of everybody. And it was funny because I saw Sean Lopez at Pipeline like 2 weeks later. He's like, man, my dad said he grabbed you by the hair and threw you on the sled and your eyes were like this big. I was like, no way, Jamie picked me up. He's like, my dad is positive he picked you up. And so I called Jamie right there. I'm like, Jamie, you picked me up at Jaws, right? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you didn't pick me up? He's all, no, Victor got you. I couldn't get to you. I didn't even know who picked me up. Nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a story. And dungeons, that wave is so scary. Do you like that wave?
Yeah, I like it. I have fun out there. I enjoy it. I love hanging out with the South African crew out there. They're all good humans.
Yeah.
But it's so fickle, man. It's hard
Is
to
it?
get that wave.
It is,
I don't
yeah.
think it's been as good since, and it's been like over a decade.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it has its moments, but it's a really tough place to get.
Wind-wise, swell-wise.
Yeah, you're just so close to the storms. It's that close to Antarctica that storms
What is it
are
down there,
just
the
squeezing.
roaring 40s?
Yeah, it's close.
Is close, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool spot though. Definitely feel like something about being in South Africa. You feel like you're in the food chain, on land, in the water, everywhere. It's a dynamic place. You can see life playing out.
Yeah, it sure is. How many times do you check like the forecast, in the world to like look at big swells coming to certain locations around the world?
Regularly, I'll check the forecast 3 times a day.
Oh yeah.
If
All-
there's
and
something
all over the
coming,
world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking like
Everywhere.
I know it's not 6 hours for the update, and I'm still looking
Really?
like an addict or something. Like maybe they did a surprise update. Yeah.
That was me back in the day too when I used to compete. I rang that buoy like about 5 times a day.
Yeah.
It's
Thank
like
God
it's
for
still
buoys,
13
man.
feet, 15 seconds.
Hasn't changed yet.
That's all time. So yeah, you once won the Surfer magazine poll for the worst wipeout, crashing in that huge wave at Chopu.
Yeah. I was good at that for a while. I won a lot of Wipeout awards. I went on a little Wipeout heater.
Did
And
you win money for that?
I think I got like a high five or something. I don't know. At a certain point, I was like, okay, this is my 3rd one. I think I might have to change my approach a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a radical one.
You are pretty reckless out there in the big waves.
Used to be.
Used to be.
Changed man.
You're a changed man?
Till I get excited.
Till you get excited. How old are you now?
I'm 36.
36.
Yeah.
Wow.
Trying to pick my battles and just be a bit more focused. That's the thing that every time I'd get a big swell when I was younger, I looked at it like it was the last one I was ever gonna get.
Yeah, right.
Like it has to happen now.
Yeah.
And I think you get a few things under your belt and get a few personal accomplishments and you're like, okay, I can try to be more effective and not just play the numbers.
Yeah. You won the biggest paddle in wave in 2014 at Jaws.
Yep.
So that was pretty much when paddling was first came in, was
A couple years into the
into it.
paddling stuff.
Yeah.
I was actually really stoked to win that
Yeah.
because I've my relationship with Pe'ahi has gone up and down so many times. Where I've had some of the worst beatings of my life, and just trying to get your head around, like, how do I surf this wave backside? You know, like on your heel edge,
Yeah,
trying
right.
to get it in, and I've just put so much thought to it. I'm like, no, I'm not giving up. I'm not making excuses just because I'm goofy foot. I got to figure out how to do this. And I was so stoked
That wave.
that worked out.
You made that wave?
Yeah, I made that wave, and actually I had a bad back injury then, and I
Whoa.
shouldn't have surfed.
No game.
And so I think one of the reasons why I made that wave is because I had no choice. I was like, I'm gonna be in a wheelchair if I fall on this wave.
Seriously,
like,
hey.
I got to be like Eye of the Tiger, and it worked out.
It worked out. Epic. And you had the barrel in 2009 in Oregon.
Yep.
What way is that called? Is that the Ghost Trees wave? No.
No, it's a spot. I mean, I called it the Yeti,
Wow.
but I'm sure it's had other names
names.
in the past.
Yeah. Is it a
but
left
it
or a
doesn't
right?
seem to stick. It's primarily a left when it's big, but it is just a mean, nasty, like
it?
a true slab.
Yeah.
And we were doing a bunch of trips one winter to go and try to score it. There had been a lot of rumors for a while, and I was heading up there with Greg and Rusty and Twiggy, and yeah, ended up getting a bomb.
You got a bomb.
Yep,
Cold?
real cold.
Real cold.
It's the coldest I've ever been. Is on
Really?
those trips. Yeah.
How does the hold downs when it's cold? I mean, I've never been a cold water person, but are they heavier, the hold downs, when it's cold, or not so much?
It's much more uncomfortable because
Yeah.
when you have that initial real impact, your whole suit gets flushed, no matter what. Like,
What do
it
you mean,
just-
get what, inside the suit?
yeah, your whole suit just goes
Whoa.
full of water, so you feel that,
Yeah.
52-degree water on your skin right away. And that's like why a lot of people drown in shipping maritime disasters in cold places. Like they say, a lot of the people on Titanic is because when you hit cold water, your initial natural reaction is to gasp.
Yeah.
So people go, then take in
yeah,
water.
yeah.
So that's something that you have to fight right off the bat.
Don't do
and
that.
then it's just so violent, and yeah, I would say it's more difficult.
Yeah.
But at least there's something about having that 5 mil wetsuit that is quite a bit of flotation.
Is
And
it?
if you have
On its
flotation
own,
on
yeah.
top of it, at least you have the peace of mind that you're going to come up eventually.
Yeah. You do, when you surf big waves these days, you use the vest to pull?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I use the vest. I don't pull unless I feel like it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't want to get used to it.
Yeah.
I
Just
try to
like
make decisions based on no vest, no water safety.
yeah.
That's,
But
I might be old school in that
no, I think it's
mindset
good.
because that's how I learned.
Because I'm
but
sure other guys will be just pulling every time.
Yeah, and people do.
People do, yeah.
But what happens when you're psychologically so
Attached to that.
attached to that, and they have problems. They have malfunctions sometimes, whether it's the way people have,
Put it
pilot
on.
error or just some freak of nature. You get it. There are dud CO2 cartridges
Yeah, right.
that just don't have anything in them. You might hit a dud, so you
Wow.
don't want to be in that headspace when you're like, oh God, oh God,
Dependent
oh
on
God,
it.
oh God, oh God, I'm not coming up. You know.
Mark, you've done a lot of conservation with sharks. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny, like, I didn't really initially set out to work with sharks all the time. I love being around them. I love the animals. But just through spearfishing my entire life, you end up interacting with sharks a lot of times in uncontrolled situations. And so I got to learn quite a bit about like their habits and their personalities, really. And that rolled into opportunities working on films. Like, the first thing I ever did was, there was a project that a buddy was working on, and they're filming down in Guadalupe Island off of Mexico, where there's just a ton of white sharks. And they basically wanted a couple of divers to come and essentially be rodeo clowns for the film guys. So basically, you're in the water with like an unloaded spear gun, just to have something to
Jab 'em.
put between you and the sharks, so the guys can focus on what they're filming, And if they turn or there's a second shark, you're trying to just keep eyes out for them and kind of be their bodyguard so they can focus on what they're doing. And then through that, ended up like, you know, having a lot of interaction with these white sharks and kind of getting to know them. And that was a film with National Geographic that was in Europe and all over the place over there. And then through GoPro, the launch of their dive housing helped them with the shark piece that got millions and millions of views.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know, like I kind of got a knack for this thing. Like, how can I fit in and help, right? Because the way I look at it is we owe a lot to give back. You know, we live pretty awesome lives and it's all because of the ocean, or mostly because of the ocean. And you got to figure out ways to give back. I'm like, okay, what's my tool set? What am I good at? What can I offer? Because I don't want to just go blow hot air on social media, Facebook, like save the sharks, they're so pretty.
Yeah.
You know, like I want to do something real. And so that's when I kind of got involved in the shark tagging projects.
Yeah.
So the first trip was the Philippines,
Yeah.
and that was for pelagic threshers, which has never been tagged or tracked
Oh,
before.
really?
Yeah, and so the reason a free diving approach with a modified spear gun shaft with a breakaway tag tip, the reason why that works is there's a few different things. You want to get that tag at the base of the shark's dorsal fin. That's the furthest away from any vital organs. It's not going to bother it. It doesn't bother it as much when it swims. Also, if it's a satellite tag, it makes it more likely that that'll
Pick it up.
yeah, hit the surface and pick up. And the sharks, when you're on scuba, granted there's areas where the sharks are fed all the time, or big, really confident sharks like big whites or big tigers, they're not going to care about you as much. But the more timid species, the bubbles, they're not going to let you get over them with the bubbles. If you come at them like this, you don't have a shot at their dorsal fin. And by the time you come to this level, they're going to bail. So like a free diving drop at a 45 degree is the best way to access that. And in the past, a lot of the tagging has been done by hook and line. So they catch a shark, hook and line, put the tag in, and it was the best option. There's been a lot of really positive results from that.
You mean like on drum lines?
Yeah.
That's what we have off snapper. We've got the drum lines with a big piece of meat on the hook.
But they'll do that and monitor them for tagging purposes.
Okay.
As well. But there is a mortality rate with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, in Australia, they only check it every couple of weeks, and there's
there's
dead sharks.
They're not going to last.
No.
Yeah, you got to get them really fast, and that's
Fast,
my
yeah.
point. Even if you have them immediately, by the time you get to the boat, get them up. If it's like a pelagic thresher, a scalloped hammerhead, or some of the other species, they still have like a certain percentage chance of dying, even if you release them right away, because they're really susceptible to lactic acid buildup. So you remember Crocodile Hunter, right? Steve Irwin.
Steve Owen.
So his whole thing was a top jaw rope with the crocodiles.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to clamp their whole mouth shut, and because crocodiles are the same way. If they get too tired and can't breathe, they get a lactic acid buildup and they can die. So the sharks essentially is the same thing. It's like the same version of Steve Irwin's top jaw rope is applying the free dive approach with the breakaway tags.
Yeah.
Because then there's also the other argument that if you have a shark that's half dead and you put a tag in it, how long is it going to take before you're getting data on its real behavior? Because it's not acting normally, right?
Yeah.
So there's always that question, is the data good that's coming back?
Yeah.
So with this free dive approach, go down, bink, little sting. Sometimes the sharks, I've tagged sharks and they haven't even like
They
run
don't even
off.
feel
They're
it,
just
yeah.
like,
Well, what was that?
you know, you get a good one right in the right spot.
Yeah.
And one of the most encouraging things is probably the most sensitive shark, those pelagic threshers in the Philippines, 9 out of 9 of them came to the same location the very next day, which showed no break in behavior.
Yeah.
So did that there. That was the first time those had ever been tagged and tracked, and then did scalped hammerheads in Japan, which
Wow.
Japan had never done a tagging project before. Did with University of Tokyo, University of Miami, and like I'm the only one without credentials on these trips.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, but I'm
But
a
you're
full
pretty
dork
much-
at heart.
right.
Yeah. So I dig it.
Yeah.
And so I go with these scientists, and it's definitely not like glorified. I'm not making money. We're all
Yeah.
sleeping in bunk beds and hearing everybody farting and snoring, like it's not it's not glorified, but that's like, I just figure that's like a give back that you can do.
Absolutely. What do you think about all the shark attacks that are happening now, especially at home in Australia and obviously Reunion, they're not even surfing there at the moment. Is there any reason, like, I mean, do you think there is just because there's more people in the water, or what do you think?
I find that, and this is why I think there's so much arguing about stuff all the time, is that it's almost never one variable. It's probably a few variables that are all coming together. It could be more people in the water.
People are fishing a lot.
It could be,
Overfishing,
could
maybe?
be that, but also, I mean, I definitely think that the sharks need protection, but I'd be remiss to not bring up that, like, when did they start getting protected, and at what point in their age do they start preying on mammals? So, I don't know, like in California, white sharks have been protected since X amount of time. Is that enough time for a bunch of the young to all be at that age where they're learning to hunt mammals? And if you watch anything start learning how to hunt something new, they don't know as much how to differentiate. You know, they've been striking out, chasing seals like an awkward high school dance, you know, and just striking out, and then they see something else and like, oh, maybe this is my chance.
Yeah, right. And it's a person. Yeah.
Because it's a lot of like middle-sized, like adolescent sharks that seem to be doing the attacks.
Doing that, yeah. Well, I mean, you probably would have seen the incident with Mick Fanning. Do you know what kind of shark that was?
It definitely looked like a white, and it definitely looked like an adolescent one, like right around that size and age where their jaw structure is changing. They're getting more muscle around the jaw area to be able to hunt larger prey and mammals. And that's usually when they're switching from fish to mammals. And
he was investigating more.
It's like a 15-year-old with their driver's permit.
Yeah.
So, you know, what can you expect? That's life. That's how it goes.
Dude, cool. Mark, tell us about the story in WA when you were free diving and you went and visited some surfers out there, and everyone probably knows who it was.
Yeah, so I was on the Hawaii team. We qualified for the Inter-Pacific Spearfishing Championships.
Yeah.
And funny enough, it was in WA, which isn't even the Pacific, for the Pacific Spearfishing Championships, but the boys over there were hosting. And I went over, didn't even bring any surfboards. I was just with a couple of my boys I dive with in Haleiwa, part of my team, and it was pretty classic because both of them had never been out of the country before. So it was their big excursion.
Trip,
yeah, and
WA, Margaret River? No.
Yeah, well, there's 3 different locations.
Okay.
So we had one of the days was at Yallingup.
Okay.
So they had 3 locations, and we had to scout all these for 2 weeks, and then they tell you which back-to-back days, which locations it's going to be. Try to make it even for everyone. And the waves were actually pumping. Like there was a lot of swell, and we were at Yallingup Boat Ramp. That's where it was. The whole thing was going to start. We're all in our wetsuits. It was all like game time, blah, blah, everyone's getting ready. And then right by me, here comes Taj dumping his ski to go whip some slabs. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing here with your dive gear? The waves are pumping. It's like, oh yeah, I'm just doing this tournament. We gotta paddle or swim out right now. I actually remember being like, kind of like pretty nervous on that one because there's these 2 rock islands at Yallingup.
Yeah.
And we had to swim directly from the boat ramp out to the farthest island. And it's like a couple Ks, I think.
Yeah.
But you just don't see the bottom the whole time. But we had
Nervous as in sharks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just like freestyle swimming. I'm like, God, this doesn't feel good. Yeah. I don't know, man. We actually did pretty good that day, but it was just super random. The look on his face was priceless.
Oh, wow.
What are you doing here?
Oh, that's cool. And tell us about, you went spearfishing with Travis Rice.
Oh, so that was a Quicksilver trip to G-Land, and that was the first time I met Travis, and we were in the same room.
How does he surf?
He surfs pretty good for a snowboarder,
Yeah.
but he like charges.
He charges?
Yeah,
Wow.
we'll go for it. Like the biggest wave of the whole trip, he like went and pig dogged it.
Wow.
Yeah, on like an 8-footer.
You took him spearfishing?
I took a, well, I guess kind of, but so there was alcohol involved, and it was nighttime,
Oh no.
and so we got this bright idea that we were gonna go hunt a pig with my spear gun in the middle of the night.
In the
the
jungle
forest.
in G-Land.
Yeah,
Are you
which I
kidding me?
didn't realize till the next day that it's kind of like a forest reserve, so I'm really glad we didn't get one. and so then we're going around with a flashlight and a spear gun, and then we're like, oh man, we should go grab that jet ski. They left the jet skis down where you load boats, and we're like, let's go and rip around on the ski. And it's like 1 a.m. and
Full moon or not?
no, it was actually a dark moon.
Dark moon.
And we went and we got it out just barely, and we're out ripping around on the ski doing donuts, and like the phosphorescence is like glowing like crazy. It was pretty cool. And then we're like going through the lineup, riding waves on the ski in the middle of the night and everything. Like, okay, we got to go back in. And thank God I left a flashlight on the beach shining out. I was like, man, it might be hard to find it back because it was like pitch black,
Yeah.
you know, just ocean and jungle. And
Oh, that was smart thinking. You left your flashlight
this
on.
is like the one smart thing I did. and, and then so we got back and the tide had dropped, and it was like this deep for like 200 meters to where we had to go. And I was like,
Reef.
oh, we can't call anybody. How are we gonna get this there? We're either spending the night out at sea on this jet ski, or we're gonna figure something out. And ended up like there's like dry reef and like tide pools. I was like, okay, here we go, and just went what?
Oh, you just
And
nailed it.
opened it up and just went wham, 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 and just like a skipping stone, like 200 meters,
You
all
made
the
it.
way, made it.
Onto the beach.
Made it almost to the beach, and then we like tied ropes to trees so it wouldn't go off. But I was honestly really blown away that we didn't get super hurt,
Yeah,
and the
right.
ski had relatively little damage. I never really quite coped to this story yet.
It's out now.
Okay, so what I want to know is when you just came out breathing fire in that skins event at Bell's.
Oh yeah.
What was the fire under your ass when you went and surfed that day? You were just like frothing.
I was frothing. I mean, bells. I love bells. You'd love bells too. Maybe.
I don't think I could do it like you do it, man.
But the waves were like 6-8 feet, and it was really like a real groundswell. And I had like a 6'5" channel bottom that just worked that good. It was just the magic board and
Who made it?
the wave. Rodney Dahlberg. Yeah.
Okay,
I used to surf Dahlberg boards, and it was a nice deep channel bottom, and the waves were so smooth that day, just perfect offshore, and the board just felt like it had a motor on it. And so yeah, it was a bit of a mixture between wave and board, and me feeling good too. I didn't have a hangover that day because it was straight after Bells.
Okay.
Yeah, because Hoyo won Bells, and then that night we went to Wayne Lynch's down at Lawn, and we were all playing music. I wasn't really playing, but I was singing a bit in his teepee. Yeah, and but yeah, I woke up feeling good that day, and it just all came together.
Yeah, because it seemed like, you know how when you watch somebody, it's kind of like listening to music and you know they're really like playing it from the heart. Like
Yeah.
I feel like when you watch somebody surfing on certain days, you're like, oh wow, that's like,
I
it's
know.
just happening.
Yeah,
And
it
I
is.
feel like that I always watch that,
Yeah.
those waves over and over of you at
Yeah.
Bell's that day. It looks like you were just making it happen.
I know,
You're
I got
thinking
far
about it.
out. It was crazy. Went over 2 days. I surfed 11 heats, and my trick was like my first wave. You had to put your hands up to
Yeah.
win the skin. So it was like 5 grand skins, and I won like 11 of them over 2 days. So it was cold too. So I was like, had kept on boiling the kettle and pouring warm water over me because I had to wait for the next heat had to wait for the guy to catch their wave. And everyone like, they don't really see what you did, but they hear the score, you know, like 8 or 9 or whatever, and they just sit and wait for a wave that never comes. So 30 minutes went over 2 days. And the funniest thing was, I won the 55 grand and a car. And they give me the car, and they're like, just jump in it and drive off. And like, it was a little Jeep, manual Jeep.
I remember this. It's on the video.
Yeah. And I got an automatic at home, so I like pulled the clutch and it just done the kangaroo hop all the way up the top.
Were you like, just get me out of this parking lot?
And I'm like laughing hysterically to myself, and then I just drove off. And I was like, that was fucking radical.
Oh, that's epic. That was a performance for the ages.
Hey Mark, thanks so much for being on the Occ-Cast.
Thanks, love
really
it.
appreciate it. Hey guys, that's another Occ-Cast.
Oh god, there's too many jellyfish.
Such a